Hello and welcome again to Summits. It's really exciting to be here. And we're transmitting live from Lagos. And I know that you expect so much from this program because we always give you factual details on national issues on the program. I am Jumoke Michaels. You're welcome, Banji. Good morning.
Yes, we are back at our duty post, Jumoke, and I'm also glad to be here just to corroborate what Jumoke has said. We give it to you the way it is, colored and straight to the issues. And that's exactly what we're doing again this morning. My name is Banji Busari. You're welcome.
All right, so like we always do, there's discussions have been ongoing, evaluating the one-year administration of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's been the president going to 1 year now in this month of May, on the 29th of May. It will be he'll be 1 year driving the vehicle called Nigeria. And people have been assessing and evaluating his policies and how far the administration has gone in running the country Nigeria. And that's what we'll be doing also on the program today. And we have with us on the show Mr. Engineer Martin Onovo. He's the former presidential candidate of the National Conscience Party, NCP, during the 2015 election. He's also a public affairs analyst and he's our friend. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you.
I'm happy to be your friend.
How I wish I knew that you were going to have red. I would have also put on either cap or whichever. But notwithstanding, we are still friends.
Yes.
Irrespective of the color.
Oh, yes.
So you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Just as Jumoke has said, in the next couple of days, Nigerians would have a cause to roll out the drums. Marking the first year anniversary of this administration. That's Bola Ahmed Tinubu's led administration. Of course, you know the way it is done. There will be a review, there will be evaluation. A lot of people will look at issues, what has actually happened in the last 365 days. And that's what we were starting already, previewing. I mean, even before the May 29th. It's almost 1 year anyway. A lot of people, some people have said that they will wait till 1 year before they comment about this administration. One of them is the most revered, that's a Nobel laureate, that's Wole Soyinka. Some other people have also waited till the end of 1 year, that it will be too early to assess an administration. You have also not been commenting. So we deemed it fit that, yes, this is a year already. So the time is right for us to ask you. Looking back now, retrospectively, how would you assess this administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? I mean, that's my opening shot.
Well, every index of development has gone south. Whether you're using the Human Development Index of the United Nations or you're using the international indices for economic development, or you're using a number of people kidnapped and killed due to insecurity. And to disagree with your intro, you talked about rolling out the drums. I think already we are rolling out our protests. Already. We're not waiting for 29th. Since this May, there have been a few protests, both online and on the streets. And that's what we are doing. Because we cannot accept this. This is by all means not acceptable. Earlier, before in the life of this ad hoc regime, Sowore had predicted publicly.
Would you want to correct the use of the word ad hoc?
Well,
it's an election that was carried out and there a lot of participation. Over 19 political parties.
I am one of the people.
Campaigns ran, elections held. So it's not. So the court, even tribunal sat. So it's not ad hoc. Can you withdraw that statement?
Well, when a tribunal sits and writes a judgment on the letterhead of the legal team of the ruling party, if that's acceptable to you, it's not acceptable to me.
I don't understand what you mean.
Okay. So, if that's acceptable to you.
No, I don't understand what you mean by writing their judgment on the letterhead.
The judgment of the tribunal was clearly on Tinubu legal team letterhead.
That's not known to anybody, maybe you.
Okay. Well, let us continue in our denial and continue retrogressing as a people. The indices cannot tell lies. Maybe I tell lies, but the indices don't tell lies. You met exchange rate at 470. We're at 1,500. GDP has tumbled down, tumbled. Unemployment is unprecedented. It has never since 1960 been this high. Inflation is unprecedented. Rufai Oseni also said, in line with what Showore said, even just more recently last week, that we thought Buhari was the worst that could happen. That Tinubu has shown himself to be worse than Buhari. I was in that school of thought.
So the Rufai journalist was already comparing a one-year administration or less than a year with somebody who spent 8 years.
But you have seen
and
it.
You are taking that home or taking that to the bank.
Well, if you want to wait for 8 years.
No, I mean, look at the analysis, look at the comparison.
If you want to wait for 8 years, leadership is supposed to take a people to where they're going, not backwards. We know where you met it. And that's why I'm giving the indices where you met it.
Well, these challenges that you have enumerated, they have always been there.
Yes.
Okay, so governance wasn't given to President Tinubu on a fantastic slate. These challenges have always been there. Are you saying that in 1 year, everything could have been corrected?
No. I'm saying that in 1 year, you could have shown a positive direction and measurable improvements. You don't deteriorate the situation. You hired a driver.
Where did the deterioration begin?
The deterioration started from day one of the so-called inauguration. What do I mean? A man who is not able to produce a WAEC certificate, on the day of inauguration, you say subsidy is gone. Major economic policy decision. Which National Economic Management team evaluated your subsidy is gone? You just come and say, what is more reckless and rash than that? You come out on the first day, the very first day, inaugural speech, you say subsidy is gone, and threw the whole economy into a turmoil. Now, if he was a little bit less reckless, let me say it like that, because I need to pass my message. He had 1 month to go from the plan of Buhari. He had till end of June. So he had 30 days to finish his inauguration, rush to his office, gather his economic advisors. I want to do subsidies gone. What do you think? What are the positives? What are the negatives? How do we manage the negatives? So he could have done it 30 days after. But nothing can be more reckless than that statement. And that put the economy into an instantaneous somersault. Now,
before you actually proceed, don't forget that 6 months before, or let's say 5 months before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over, Budget 2023 never made provisions for subsidy.
No, he made provisions for
that.
6 months.
So that to terminate,
and that's what I'm saying, that
to terminate by June ending.
That's what I'm saying. He had 30
so
days.
Where would they have funded it from?
Where
would they have funded
the one he's funding now? Where is he funding?
Where would they have funded? No, explain where we.
No, the one he's funding now. Where is he funding it from?
How?
The budget made provision till the end of June. You have to have the right facts. If not, you can't make the right judgment. Hold on.
No, that's exactly what
he did subsidy with his gun on May 29th.
June and December, what would have happened to?
Why are you talking about June and December when I'm talking about May and June? May 29th and June 30th.
So what magic would
No, you
happen?
have changed the timeline.
What magic would
I'm
have
saying
happened
you could have had a
within
plan.
30 days?
You could have been less reckless. You could have had a plan.
No, you call it reckless. I think.
Well, you have seen the consequence.
You are aware.
You have seen the consequence.
You are aware that long before, if as far back.
Now, do you realize that you're
20,
paying more subsidy now?
At 20, by as early as. 20,
do you realize you're paying more subsidy now?
2012.
I did a program here with you, and I told you that this is what will happen. You are paying more subsidy now.
Are you aware that as far back as 2012, that means Nigerians, civil society groups, so many Nigerians believe that subsidy was a fraud. Protests all over the country.
No, the protest was against removal of subsidy. And Bola Jagaban, Jagaban Bola Ahmed Tinubu was a part of that protest.
No, the protest was for the stoppage of subsidy.
And you can't see any hypocrisy.
And it was said that it was.
And you can't see any hypocrisy.
I can't see
no. The protest was against the removal of subsidy. I was a part of that protest. Jagaban Tinubu was a part of that protest. And that's easy to verify. His written and signed press releases, his public statement is easy to verify. He was a part of that protest. Now he gets to power, and then he does the same thing he protested against, and you see nothing wrong. That's okay. If that's your opinion, that's excellent. That's your opinion. You have a right to it. But also, I have a right to my own. Tinubu Jagaban was a part of the 2012 protest against the Jonathan government for removal of subsidy. I was a part of it too. He gets to power. On the first day, this is what he does, what he protested against, and you see no hypocrisy.
You have spoken about the removal of subsidy. Now, those are the things that you are counting against this administration.
No, that's one. I'm counting so many things.
Okay, let's look at the power sector.
Yes.
Has anything changed in
Well,
the last 1 year after the start of this administration?
Well,
because remember that before former President Buhari's regime, there was a slight improvement in the power sector. But anyway, let me give you the opportunity to say whatever it is you want to say.
No, the Electricity Act, Jumake, let me just tell you, the Electricity Act actually came on course during this administration. And that's what a lot of people applauded. This is an act that had been stalled for decades. But during this administration, the Electricity Act, and stakeholders, industry practitioners, all of them have hailed it, that unbundling the discos and then transferring powers to the states and all of that, there are positive developments in that sector. And we are beginning to see some of the results. What's your opinion?
Well, I'm wondering what results you saw, because you have to be specific when you claim that you're seeing results. If you look at before this administration, averagely, we had 2 to 3 system collapses in a year, averagely. In the last 12 months, we have had more than 5. In the last 12 months, in the period we're talking about, we have had more than 5. So, and that's why I said you have to be specific about the indices you're using. Every time, system collapse. Every time, system collapse. What will cause a system collapse? I'm a registered engineer.
Don't you suspect sabotage?
No, this is a cheap excuse. This is a very cheap excuse, because you have the Department of State Security. If there is sabotage, they will know, and they should even know before it happens and prevent it. That is why they are an intelligence agency. It's not journalists that will tell us that. The country is properly set up to run excellently as a modern country. Rotimi Williams told you how many years ago? In 1980. Professor Achebe told you in 1983. The problem with this country is the leadership, but the media keeps defending the leadership, and the country keeps going down. We are worse off than we were. That's clear. Where we had pipe bomb water running in the past 20 years, it is not running anymore. My father had a landline at home. Show me which one is working now. I grew up as a child with a landline at home. Show me one that is working now. So the country is going back. The media is supposed to hold the country accountable, hold the government accountable according to the Constitution, not according to me. So don't blame me. The Constitution says the mass media should hold the government accountable. The mass media turns itself to defender of the government.
You are saying that. You are saying that.
Well,
You are saying that, of course, you know what press has got. You and I discussed the issue of press freedom a couple of weeks ago. Is the press not doing its work? Are we not paying, sacrifices for doing our work? Yeah. You are aware of the detention of some journalists a couple of weeks ago. Would that have happened if the press was not doing its work?
Well,
so that's not the focus of this. You
are right.
No,
you are right. Maybe I generalized. Maybe I generalized.
That would not have happened. That's not our focus.
Maybe I generalized.
Okay, let's look at the aspect of infrastructure, roads, for instance. How would you rate this administration in the last 12 months?
Well, I will say in the normal way that I agree with His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. The Trans-Coastal Road, which is the most notorious road that is associated with this regime, is a violation of the oath of office. It's not only a violation of the oath of office, it's a violation of the Appropriation Act, it's a violation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic, it is a violation of the Federal Procurement Act. So this is a celebration of lawlessness. That's what it is. The Trans-Coastal Road is a celebration of lawlessness. Let us start with the corruption side. This section of the Trans-Coastal Road, for which you paid 1 trillion, is only 47 kilometers. That brings you to 20-something billion per kilometer. That must be it is cheaper for me as an engineer to build a road across the Atlantic than the cost of your Trans-Coastal Road. And let me give you an index.
So because you're an engineer, you understand the nitty-gritty.
And I know the cost. And then I will give journalists indications they can verify. The Trans-Saharan Highway, funded by the African Development Bank, the Niger section, is 1,950 kilometers. Almost 3 times your whole Lagos to Calabar, which is 700 kilometers. So 1,950. It is $171 million. But you're using how many billion? Look at the factor. Quote me, Trans-Saharan Highway, in the history of humanity, since I started engineering and politics, I have never seen such fraud in my life. And if you think you have seen, show me any scandal that is worse than that. So that's one. It is inflated to a factor of nearly 30. I didn't say 3. I'm saying 30 times the cost. Now, if you go to the African Development Bank, I'm using African Development Bank because it's Africa. If you go to their website, you will see that their median cost for road construction is $147,100 per kilometer. If you convert that roughly,
irrespective of the topography, irrespective of
I said median rate, so it's not one. Median rate. So you can factor for all those. And then you can narrow and go to their coastal roads and pick the cost of their coastal road. But nothing comes near to this. This thing is not double. It's not times 10. I'm saying it is nearly times 30.
Let me ask you, the Trans-Coastal Road that this administration has taken up as responsibility to actually construct. Don't forget that this administration did not initiate it.
Correct.
It would have actually happened like
Correct.
20 years ago.
30 or even more.
If it didn't happen and this administration has taken it upon itself to do what others thought was impossible, would you now say, when would have been the appropriate time to do it?
Do you understand prioritization?
Oh, no. When would have been the appropriate time to do it?
Do you understand prioritization?
No, I'm asking you. Maybe
I'm going to answer.
Take my question first.
When I say that, it means that I want to answer from
what time would have been more appropriate?
Hold on. In terms of priorities, that road cannot be a priority when you have not completed the East-West Road, which goes to exactly the same destinations. That road is parallel to the East-West Road. I hope you know that. And you have been doing East-West Road for how long? Now, will it not be more reasonable and more efficient to complete one first? Now, The Transcoastal Road that you put 1 trillion, that 1 trillion is not in the budget. It's a,
No,
it's a violation of the Appropriation Act. You don't spend money outside budget. That's clear. And I hope you know that the House of Rep has undertaken to investigate that. Yes, it was on the front page of Vanguard. So, that 1 trillion is not in the budget.
We've spoken about the cost.
Yes, I'm now speaking about...
Not interrupt. Now, we are saying that
I'm
what
speaking
would have
about...
been more appropriate.
Yes. Can I conclude about the lawlessness associated?
No, what time would have been more appropriate? I think
the time that is more appropriate is much later when you have better funding capacity. Not when you are going to start the one you cannot finish with funds that you could have used to complete the one you had started.
Have you also listened to the reactions of people in that region?
I have listened to everybody's reaction.
So if you were from, but are you saying this because you probably thought it may not benefit you?
No.
You are in Lagos and you are not affected.
No.
People in South have all come out to applaud this administration. And they have said people who are opposed to it have their political reasons.
Why are you using...
No, I'm asking.
Why are you using South members of the ruling party? And you say people from the South.
Are you saying Ben Bruce is a member of
Hold on. Don't
I'm asking, is Ben Bruce a member of the ruling party?
Don't personalize it.
No. You spoke.
Don't personalize it.
You also generalized.
Ben Bruce does not represent South in any capacity. In any capacity. So let's just not...
I think we have other issues to look at.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this, because...
We need to move to our Greek.
Okay.
And other...
This Transcoastal Road has exhibited the unimaginable crass corruption of the government and the lawlessness to violate Constitution in one stroke. Violate Appropriation Act, violate Procurement Act, violate Oath of Office.
All right, so much about Jumoke. I guess you have issues too.
Let's look at the policy around the dollar exchange. I know that government has been trying at all costs to ensure that harmonization payments are being made in Naira, that we should stop the
dollarization of the
economy. I mean, that's a blatant violation of the Constitution. All right, so in your opinion, are the policies helping this harmonization, or what do you think could have been done to make it better?
I like the second part of your question, so let me start with that. If you're not satisfied, we'll go to the first part. What could have been done to make it better? You have to understand the economy. You have to understand this economy. And I will give you key indices that make it so simple. A primary school child can understand this economy. It is import dependent. Madam, it is import dependent. That's what I'm saying. Just look at yourself. Start from your earring, your glasses. Which one is produced here? Just start from that. This country was exporting cotton before. Now we're importing cotton. So please, just look at yourself. Your shoes, were they made here? My shoes, were they made here? Your wristwatch, was it made here? So understand it is import dependent, and you are importing up to food. You are importing up to petroleum products that God gave you for free. You didn't earn it. So you will know how unproductive we are as a people. And this is not because our people chose to be unproductive. Before these bad governments, we were very productive. And we were exporting a lot. In the First Republic, the North was exporting a lot, majorly granite. Yeah. The West was exporting a lot, majorly cocoa, up to building cocoa house. The East was exporting a lot, majorly palm oil. But now, because corruption has been celebrated, and don't forget, corruption demotivates.
No, you're still talking about corruption. I think you should address the issue.
I'm going to address it. If you don't understand the background, that's why you ask those questions that are critical.
Those times,
okay, let me summarize. What I was trying to say, you are import dependent. To import, you need Forex. So that's the pressure. So if you want to relieve the pressure on Forex, and that's why we have been shouting, you and I in this studio, for nearly 10 years, I've been saying domestic refining. I say it and go away. That's the end. If you had domestic refining, like we're now having with Dangote, it is better. Even if it's a monopoly, it's domestic because if he rips us up, we can tax him and collect the money back. We can tax him and collect our money back. But it's domestic. Even if it's a monopoly and he's trying to rip us off, you shouldn't allow a monopoly. But I'm saying a monopoly domestic monopoly is better than import. Import is wasteful because there are too many additional costs. And you can see how destructive government in Nigeria has been. Since 1989 that we finished the second Port Harcourt refinery, we have not built any one again. We are not able to maintain any of the four. So what is government doing? And the journalists that should hold them accountable are making up excuses for them.
You're going back to those questions. Let me ask you specifically about
we are here.
Modular refineries.
Yes.
Have you seen any positive steps by this administration towards, activating that
you see,
refinery?
Modular refineries are a good idea. But let us stop these brainwaves. Because when you get a good idea like modular refinery, you have to plan it properly. And then you have to have the environment for it to happen. Because the regulatory environment you have today in Nigeria, where to get a license, you don't have to meet any criteria. Of course, there are criteria in the paper. But the real criteria is you move money. Corruption is the real criteria for obtaining the permit. So you have to deal with that. Because investor has calculated his cost. It is based on that calculation that he estimates his profit. And all this bring money, it comes to the cost. So it affects profit and then it affects viability. So an investor can abandon a project because it's no longer viable, given all the everywhere, bring money. So that's number one. Is modular refinery a good idea? Yes. It's also going to create a regulatory nightmare. And that's why you have to plan things. Because if you have 30 modular refineries, it means that the regulators have to regulate the whole 30. So maybe you have to increase their staff strength so that they're able to regulate the whole 30. But with respect to a modular refinery get installed, it is faster with installation. Because these are modules, so that's why it's called modular. You drop the modules and you join them. So you put your crude, you start producing. So, and that's why it's modular, it's faster.
So we've been hearing about the resuscitation of
the existing
Port Harcourt and the Kaduna refinery. In fact, we have been told it will start operations in
last December.
Is it last December or this December?
No, last December.
Last December. All right. So, what do you envisage about that?
Well, before we were told last December, we had been told many earlier dates. And that's also
by
why...
the previous administrations.
Yes, I agree. But government is a continuum. And that is why people have to be held accountable. And don't forget that the GMD of NMPC from the previous administration is still the same GMD. Yeah. Don't forget it's still the same ruling party. So stop trying to dodge responsibility for failure. It's the same ruling party. It's the same GMD, the same person who is managing these projects. So we have been told many dates. I happen to have some inside knowledge. The projects are not properly managed. And I may not have evidence that it's corruption, but I suspect it is corruption. Because with the level of money we have, and we have budgeted, which I know is about 4 times the appropriate value, and yet we are having issues of funding. Subcontractors are saying we are not going to work because we have not been paid. We put invoice, it has not been paid. How can we continue working? The other time, welders went on a strike. All this over money. Another time, welders say we cannot work because we don't have consumables. So all those kind of nonsense that you do.
I've actually stalled the project.
No, that's delay. Because maybe after they bring the electrode, then the welder starts to weld.
Okay,
but you have lost time, and you keep losing time.
You spoke about investments.
So it's very poorly managed.
Poorly managed. Okay, fine. That is taken. You spoke about investments in your previous. Our current president has had several trips. Globetrotting, wooing investors. What have you started seeing? Have we started seeing results of that?
Well, the one that was celebrated turned out to be a hoax. The one of Dubai. So it turned out to be a hoax. And we must make sure that we are not misled by empty propaganda.
But the gas, the 3 gas companies that inaugurated or commissioned last week by the president, is it not part of our efforts towards energy? I mean,
that's my point. In management, you have key performance indices. Key performance indices. That is how you measure your progress. To simplify it to what everybody can understand, if you want to build a house, maybe your first milestone is when you buy the land. You survey and you have your documentation. Maybe your second milestone is when the architect has completed drawing, you have reviewed, you have agreed, this is what I want to build. The architect has gone to Alausa, got your approval. Then, maybe your third milestone is we go to
the
site, do our set out, and do our DPC. So, you make deliberate, steady progress, even if it's in small steps, but don't go backwards. What we are saying is that they have gone backwards, not in one area.
So before we leave, I think we need to also assess the security aspect of governance in Nigeria. Have things improved from former President Buhari's regime to what we have now? Do you see any improvement? Is there any new policies? Are they working to ensure the security of lives and property?
There are new men, everybody knows that. But let me tell you, the parish priest is an agent of the bishop. All these chiefs are agents of the commander-in-chief. The commander-in-chief has the responsibility. He appoints those chiefs and he approves. In the history of Nigeria, 500 people have not been kidnapped at once. That just happened less than a month ago. So that's an index that things are getting worse. Right now, we may think I'm not kidnapped. But most of the people who are getting kidnapped and who are getting displaced are farmers. Impact on food supply, impact on food security, impact of cost of garri, because it is farmers. Now, in the south where they are not getting kidnapped, they are being barred from coming to their farm. In the sense that because it's unsafe to go to farm, nobody wants to go. Then you only farm in front of your house. That constrains production. That also impacts the naira. So you can't do one bad thing and think that it's only one small bad thing I did. Everything is linked. You can see how I've connected that to forex rate, connected it to cost of garri. So you can.